There it is. All right. We still don't know how to edit our videos,
Nope.
but we do have this cool little soundboard that'll give us a little bit of.
It's not bad intro music.
It's really not.
I like it.
Ah,
All
so
right.
anyway,
Episode
second
2.
episode. Yeah, here we. It's exciting.
Gonna be a little bit hopefully more streamlined this time around. We got the lighting a little bit more the way we like it. Just
it-
kind of fiddling around with the different setups and
w-
whatnot.
with the two very Irish-skinned hosts,
Yep.
lighting is very tricky because we're like vampires.
Yeah, pretty much.
Essentially. So that's hard to figure out, and we're in my basement, so I don't have any professional lighting. I have
Not yet.
not yet.
Not yet.
Um,
We may have
and
an actual
until
studio someday.
well, I mean,
Whenever
until we get
Yingling
Yingling
starts,
oh look, now we're gonna
it works.
terrible. There
See,
we go.
mine works.
Well, we're gonna figure out the lighting.
America's oldest brewery.
Also, America's best brewery, in everyone's opinion.
I mean, we might as well double down on Ohio. We were just talking about how sad it is that
I was saying after this we were joking about talking about Yingling and how much we hate Ohio, and I was saying how disheartening it is to me that America's finest brewery is served in the world's shittiest location. So
not with the word.
Yingling,
We're really doubling down on Ohio.
if you are watching this, please stop serving in Ohio. Anyway, so
The company we're trying to get to sponsor us, we're telling them to sell less and distribute less.
well, to be fair, they are technically a microbrewery. They don't actually sell all over. I think
Yeah.
they just started selling in Texas. They used to be the original 13 colonies, from what I understood.
Yeah.
Now they've expanded. I know they just went to Texas, which kind of bit me in the ass because when my sister and brother-in-law moved out there, I hate Texas as well. Nothing personal against the state. I just hate the humidity.
I do want to go down south one day just for the food. That's
We get great
normally why I
food,
travel.
great culture. Hate the immunity. You just wake up with ball sweat. It's terrible. No, not even joking. That's literally anyway.
Oddly, I did see that while Yingling is expanding, they're now moving In-N-Out Burger out eastward.
In-N-Out.
In-N-Out, not east this far east, but Tennessee is getting its first
Well,
one, which is the furthest away it's ever
yeah,
been
I
from,
mean, it's
from
still
the West
not.
Coast.
Yeah,
I have always wanted to try In-N-Out Burger simply from reputation alone.
Awesome!
Yes.
yeah. I don't know if I thought.
Oh, no,
God
it
damn
worked last time.
Yeah,
We hear the sound effects last time.
but no. I thought it was a different one than I was pressing.
Oh.
I gotta label these better. These are very hard to see. But no. Like I was saying, that it was funny though because I had told my sister and brother-in-law that I would never move, or not move, but at least visit a Yingling-less state. And then that bit me in the ass shortly thereafter they moved there because then they started serving Yingling there. So that kind of bit me in the ass. So yeah. But anyway,
Josh's wife was just on screen giving us the stink eye. That's what I was.
no, she's terrible. So and now the world knows you are terrible. So anyway,
You said you had some talking points. Actually,
I do. In honor of yesterday, which was Friday the 13th.
Yes.
I thought it would be cool because, like we mentioned, we're movie buffs, big pop culture buffs. I'm curious to know. I have some idea, but I don't actually. If gun to head, I don't know that I could pinpoint your single most favorite horror film. And I know you're probably gonna have to think about it for a second. I know your favorite director.
Horror film in general.
I know your favorite
I
director.
thought you were just gonna ask my favorite Friday the 13th film.
No, that's too easy.
Is it too easy?
That's too easy.
What's the easiest Friday the 13th film? What's one you go with?
I mean, you got to go with the first one.
Before Jason was even in the picture?
What's what started it all?
Yeah, well, I mean, that's saying, yeah. I mean, I'm talking about just personal favorite, like
personal favorite. It's hard to say because I have personal favorite kills from each movie.
It's not the best one by any means, but
Jason X.
Jason X, but the one I was going to say is Jason Takes Manhattan.
Oh, also great.
That one holds a special place in my heart.
Yeah,
I watched that a lot as a kid. It's so cheesy. It's so 80s, but I love it.
The guy? Isn't that the one when the guy's coming out of the shitter and he Didn't he say something like real fucking funny?
Oh, I think so. Either that or that was the one that was before. That was
It was the skinny black guy, kind of like dressed like Michael Jackson a
yeah,
little bit, had
yeah.
the
I think that
long
was
dangly
Manhattan. I
earring.
think. Yeah.
Yeah, well, that was
Oh no
definitely
no no!
Manhattan. Was that not Manhattan?
That was
Oh,
in
I guess they were kind of in the
Manhattan.
woods.
That was one with Corey Feldman, wasn't it?
No, because Corey Feldman
Because
shaves his head and gets all. No, maybe you're right, man. I think that was it.
I'm trying to think. Yeah, because I know
Oh,
what
this is
character you're
embarrassing.
talking about. I haven't watched the.
To be fair, there is what 11 of them.
God,
Jason X and then
I don't even
Freddy
know at
vs.
this point.
Jason.
I haven't seen those
That's what I'm going with.
in a
Freddy vs.
while.
Jason.
Freddy vs. Jason.
Freddy vs. Jason.
Yes,
100%. I had to some pretty good kills there too.
that was. I was just talking about that with somebody like that whole era of early 2000s horror movies. I do have just soundtracks. The way they just that's like those are like comfort movies for me, like 13 Ghosts, Ghost Ship,
I'll give a shit. Yeah.
Bride of Chucky, all those like they just I don't know. I watched a lot of those growing up. So I mean, but favorite horror film, if we're just gonna talk horror film, man, I'm probably The Thing, the original Thing, probably mine.
That's the one you made me watch. You lent me or was it Dalton that lent me the?
Probably don't. I don't know if I lent you. Yeah, it's
You
Kurt
highly recommend.
Oh,
Yes. Okay. Oh,
Kurt
so
Russell.
Kurt Russell. Yeah.
The Thing, the original Alien. I mean, Halloween's up there, obviously. I don't know, man. There's just so many. Like, I don't know what my favorite all time would be. Then you have like the more obscure stuff like Cannibal Holocaust. You have
I have.
I don't know. There's a lot of I just like all kinds of different horror movies. I don't know.
It is hard to put your thumb on just one. Like I have one that I guess you can't even say one. I have one. I don't know, one series, I guess you want to call it, that is near and dear, and then I have like movies that are like, you know,
Actually,
not
you know
special
what?
to me, but I'm like, that's a great fucking
I'm gonna
movie.
say probably either The Thing. If I'm gonna do a definitive one, either The Thing or the original Texas Chainsaw Massacre by Tobe
Oh,
Hooper.
all right.
Yeah,
Well,
because that movie
is still
is
terrifying.
still very effective, and
You know something we've talked about this before. A horror film that is still terrifying to this day.
which one?
Jaws.
Oh yeah,
Absolutely
Jaws is up there too.
No matter who you are, if you've seen Jaws, and I guess now any other like shark
It's its own
movie,
genre now.
well, yeah, you just
But you can't top the
it's
original
in the back
Jaws.
of your mind, no matter what.
It will never be topped as far as those types of movies are concerned. I mean, that is. I saw that. I'll never forget. I saw that movie for the first time. That was the first movie my dad actually let me stay up late to watch on TV. I was like maybe 7 or 8, and I'll never forget. That was just when I saw that. I saw all those movies at a really young age, and that's why I'm such a fan nowadays because you watch that stuff at a young age. Like Luke's always going to be a horror movie fan. You know what I mean?
Oh, 100%.
So just because it's when you're like that's for my sister. Just having me watch like Scream, Nightmare on Elm Street, which you said about Dream Warriors really affected you when you were.
It was Dream
Okay.
Warriors because that was the one where the veins came out of the.
Yes.
Yeah. So that was and again and what's hilarious, like my son's name is Luke. That's he's a big horror fan. He's 8 years old. But hilariously enough, like he's the opposite of me as a kid because as a kid, bikes, skateboards, anything I can get my hands on to hurt myself with, I was just flying off of ramps, just being a nuisance to society. But at the end of the day, like if someone put in a horror film, I grew up very sheltered away from all that stuff. Scared the shit out of me. There was no, because growing up in a church, you're made to believe like demons are real. And if you watch a movie like The Exorcist, that is a portal where the devil will jump into your butthole and possess you, and you will be demonized. And yeah, and it was So that stuff really scared me, and it's funny because I remember specifically the first movie I, I sought out to watch. I don't necessarily even I didn't know anything about it. I was, um I was at a movie store, video rental store that was, a half mile away from my house at the time.
Those are the best.
And yeah, oh yeah, it was a great shop. I loved it. We always got video games, candy there, and everything. It was a good time. But there was a section with horror films, and we grabbed the original Evil Dead. And I remember I had a my buddy was there that night, and we watched this movie, and I was so fucking terrified. And after he left, when we were like, "Oh, it's cool," "Oh, yeah, it was a good movie," or whenever I left, like, I sheepishly told my mom that we had rented a scary movie, and that was like a taboo thing.
Mhm.
So, my mom actually took this is showing the age a bit, took the VHS out and put it in its case and put it outside on our porch in the grill so that the demons wouldn't be in the house and we'd be safe, but, God bless maybe threw some holy water on the grill, but
Now,
it was
see
it was
what's
outside in the grill.
funny is my mom, who's a very religious woman. She's a very strong woman of faith. She really wanted me to try a Ouija board out when I was a kid. I never
No,
did. I never did, but she always wanted me to
to this
try
day,
it.
I still will not.
She always wanted me to try it. And then I'm so mad I sold mine whenever I moved. But that note, see, I
Good?
yeah, I'm good. Um, I really also became a fan. Evil Dead's actually up there. Evil Dead's probably top five for
Well,
me as
yeah, I
well.
mean, because it's still
Um,
it's still terrifying
it's
too.
it's just it's classic. And for me, I grew up also loving special effects. So whenever you're a kid and you learn about how
Tom Savini.
Tom Savini, you learn how special effects are done. That's a whole another reason to watch horror films. Just like uh, back in the '70s and even back in like when you have like the classic Frankenstein makeup. Um, that's and when you learn like simple tricks, like whenever you watch the original Frankenstein and Karloff, whenever he had indented cheeks, that's because he took his false teeth out, and that's how they did the indented
Yeah.
cheeks on the original monster. And that stuff just always fascinated me. And that's one there- horror movies are and you had that whole golden age in the '80s with
Well, speaking of horror films and Tom Savini,
yeah.
didn't, um wasn't it the one scene in, I believe it was Friday the 13th, where no, no, Johnny Depp was Nightmare on Elm Street.
Joined up summer. Kevin
Uh,
Bacon.
Kevin Bacon.
Yes. The bed scene.
On the bed
Yeah.
when the spear came up
Yeah.
through his or the dagger, whatever it was,
Yeah.
and the mechanic wasn't working
Yeah.
just right. So he was actually down underneath there just
Yeah.
blowing away at this
Yeah.
thing and just spurting blood. I mean,
Yep.
that's what it was, but I mean, and
Yeah.
it was way better then. It was more realistic. Same with like
Yes.
any Jurassic Park,
Yeah.
anything like
I
that. Practical effects beat what special effects or
CGI.
CGI. Yeah,
Yeah.
any day of the week.
The one scene that's always stuck with me as far as practical effects go is probably the dog scene in The Thing when
Mm.
the entire kennel gets killed. That I remember I saw that super young, and that just had such an impact on.
Do you think that's why you're so emotional with animal stuff?
No, not just because that's. It's just from I've always grown up.
Dale is extremely like I'm pretty numb to everything,
No, I'm numb to
but
everything except animal deaths. I don't. Trust me. I'm not. I'm a meat eater. I like I have no issue with hunting or anything like that. I don't like seeing animal death. At least with movies, you can kind of be like turn your brain off and say it's fake.
so
But
to your point there, and here's something that happened the other day. I was driving and I wouldn't call myself a hunter. I shot a deer once and hey, I did it, and so, it was that was whatever. Like I didn't feel bad about it. I understand there's a population control thing because if you did not hunt these deer, they would be all over the place.
Yeah.
But anyway, um, you know, no feelings towards a deer being shot in the woods. It's like you appreciate the sacrifice.
Yeah.
You have meat to feed your family. That whole
Yeah.
thing. Driving home, I saw a deer on the side of the road. Assumed it was dead. Picked its neck up, and I'm like, my
Yeah.
heart broke. I'm like,
Yeah.
like that made me
Yeah.
sad. But to go in the woods to the deer's home with a gun and blast it,
Yeah.
nah,
Well,
I
like
don't know.
you,
It's
well,
a it's a weird thing.
well,
It's a
like you
weird
said,
taboo.
hunting is such an ancient thing. Since
It's
predator,
a necessity.
it's a necessity. Yeah, I mean, hunting's never bothered me. I don't have any issue with. Like I said, there's just something about because I've always grown up with dogs. I've always grown up with animals. I don't like seeing animal deaths in movies. It's always bothered me.
Yeah.
There's times when it's so cheesy, like in Fear with Mark Wahlberg, where they stick the German Shepherd's head through the door. It's
Yeah.
clearly a prop, but there's just certain scenes in movies that I have to look away whenever.
Do you have a specific animal scene in a movie that really breaks you?
Yes.
I'm not talking like Homeward Bound,
No.
stuff like that. I'm
No.
talking
Like
like
a horror movie.
yeah, something like that.
Yes. American Psycho, where he
Oh,
stomps it in the
yeah.
alley
Oh,
because of the sound effects.
I regret that.
Because of the sound effects.
Oh, you unzipped me.
The sound effects.
Oh man,
That and the Babadook.
I couldn't make it through the Babadook.
No, but I'm not a fan of that movie.
I fell asleep.
But
Just
it's this. She just picks up, slowly chokes the family dog to death.
oh fuck.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
yeah, it's
See, it's funny though because it's always a dog because you ain't
Yeah.
getting away with that shit with a cat. That cat will fuck you up. That dog will be like,
Yeah.
oh, you're gonna
Yeah.
love me after this, right?
Yeah,
Cat will be like,
cats
fuck
will
you.
Cats will go down swinging.
Literally.
But no, I mean, there's actually, if you want to look up, probably one of the most hilarious dog scenes. There's a movie, I believe it's called. I'm not gonna say this wrong.
I feel like we've already established we don't research anything before we talk
Yeah,
about it.
I haven't seen this movie in a while. I think it's crap. I don't want to have dead air, but yeah, dead air.
Jet Air.
But there's I want to say it's called Gozo. Gozo. It's a Japanese film
Oh, now you
by Takashi Miike, who did Audition, who did Ichi the Killer. He's known for having, I think he holds the record for directing most films, but he does primarily very violent stuff, primarily very violent stuff. But there's a scene. It's a Yakuza movie.
like a gang.
Yeah.
Okay.
But basically, it's a trippy fucking movie. But there's a scene where this boss is in this diner, and he thinks this woman's holding a little chihuahua outside, and he thinks like the dog's like spying on him. He's like paranoid.
Oh, I see how it hurt
So
me because I grew up with chihuahuas.
he goes out and he spikes it off the ground. Then he takes the leash, spins it around, and like tosses it out the window. It's so over the top. But the first time I saw it, I wasn't even like disturbed by it. I just started laughing so hard because it was the most over the top thing ever. So yeah, it all depends on context. Because I always have grown up with dogs, so I don't particularly like animal deaths. You know what else was a brutal one? Planet Terror. Did you see Planet Terror where he just drives
Tarantino, right?
Rodriguez. Tarantino.
Rodriguez. That's right. Okay. Yep.
Tarantino was in it. He was the one.
Yes.
He was the soldier whose junk started eroding away.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We've all been there.
Yeah. Well, it happens. Friday night's a Friday night. But yeah, I mean, I don't know. That's why I love horror movies, but yeah, animal deaths, which is oddly enough, Cannibal Holocaust, one of my favorite horror movies, and that had real animal deaths in it.
It did. That's why they got in legal trouble.
A lot of trouble.
It was what, a turtle and a monkey?
A pig, I think, a monkey, a snake.
Was it that many?
It was like 6 or 7.
I know it was a turtle for a fact.
6 or 7. Well, the big thing that they got in trouble with that movie, I mean, anybody
was because they thought it was a snuff film.
Because they thought it was a snuff film. Because I'm sure anyone who's a fan watches this will know he made all the actors sign contracts where they had to basically disappear off the grid for a year, and he had to prove in court. Yeah, and that's why I love his cameo in Hostel Part 2.
Yeah,
he was the cannibal in Hostel Part 2, the director who just passed away. So rest in peace, Rogero Deodato. I don't know actually how to pronounce his name, but
so now this is more gonna lean towards me because I don't think you follow. You're more like of a fantasy horror crime. I love to live in the reality of the fucking horror that we live in every day.
Right.
So again, in honor of Friday the 13th, who would you say is your? I don't know if I want to phrase it as favorite. You could say favorite or the serial killer you find most interesting or fascinating, or even a true crime story. I'll expand it even further. And I feel like you might know mine, but I don't know if you actually know.
I don't know because that you are very passionate about. I am too, but like you actually know, I think a lot more about that stuff than I do.
I follow a lot of true crime.
Probably, and I haven't heard the story in a while, so I'm probably gonna get some of the details murky. But I want to say I even forget what state it was in. The axe murderer who was threatening to kill
New Orleans.
Was it New Orleans? They played the jazz music.
New Orleans.
Yeah. Okay.
No,
so
jazz
New Orleans.
music.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. New Orleans. Then
You never caught the guy.
And they never caught the guy.
Him. Yeah.
That and also my favorite true crime story, like documentary. If anyone's seen the Jinx about Robert Durst.
Yeah.
That was, and I don't really like.
They got me.
Yeah.
They got. Whoa! Bike's on.
Yeah, I don't really follow like true crime stories that much, like documentaries or shows, but that one just captivated me.
You guy's a dumb fuck.
He died, didn't he?
Oh, I don't know.
Did he die recently?
No, let's hope so.
Either that or he got arrested. Yeah, I don't know. But I don't know who your favorite one is. Because I like H.H. Holmes.
Oh yeah, America's first serial killer. Yeah, he's
that one's up there.
Crazy. It's wow. Dude, he built a murder mansion.
I know. It's
built
insane.
A mansion to murder.
It's insane. Well, go ahead and I kind of took up the whole thing with the animal thing. Go talk about your favorite.
What?
Go. What's your favorite one?
Favorite what now?
True crime, serial.
Oh, okay. I was gonna say because I thought you were gonna backpedal me all the way back.
No.
I
was gonna say go ahead and talk about yours because you're way more detailed. About that
Ted Bundy, hands down.
Oh, Bundy.
Hands down.
Did you watch the Zac
Ted
Efron?
Bundy? I'll go. Yes. Awesome.
Was it good? Okay.
Yes.
James Hetfield was good.
I will go on record and say what she gives me flack for it all the time because yes, he was a terrible fucking human being that did terrible shit to women. But Ted Bundy, fucking genius, a genius. The man, his whole thing was that he's a good-looking guy. He's a good-looking guy.
Which is
and he would just be like,
because
hey, my arm is in a sling. Can you help me out real quick?
Yeah.
I got you.
Well, that's why I didn't understand all the flack when they made that movie about Zac Efron. Oh, they got the pretty boy to play Ted Bundy. It's like, well, that's what he was.
Ted Bundy, he was
perfect.
He was
casting.
A handsome man.
It was perfect casting. And Zac Efron,
he escaped from jail twice,
job.
like a fucking baller. Escaped from jail twice. Again, terrible human being, but escaped from jail twice. Represented himself in court.
Yeah.
Not that great, but he was still just like he was like, hey, when I get my Volkswagen Beetle, they're like, yeah, sure. You seem like you got a handsome face.
I try to follow the mindset of not celebritizing or glamorizing like serial killers like people do on
it's so hard not to though.
On Facebook.
It's really hard not to.
Like the people that still they'll post like Charles Manson quotes and shit on Facebook.
You know what though? Charlie Manson's a fucking idiot.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
He was a fucking idiot.
I don't know why people think he was like some like genius.
He was number one. He was like 5 foot tall.
Yeah.
He was like literally this fucking tall. And all he did was just like, oh hey, you're fucking poor and you have nowhere to go and you're a hippie, you want to live a hippie lifestyle.
And Brad Pitt fucked them all up.
Yeah, that was great. Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, great film. We never watched it.
I was gonna say I just saw one while you were talking, the dating game killer.
Rodney Alcoa.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, I didn't even know his name.
Yeah, Rodney Alcoa. That's another.
I watched
his kill count.
He claims was in the.
Yeah,
he claims.
He
claims. I don't know how many they actually found, but
I don't know that they found, but they found a lot evidence of a lot of them.
I watched. They had that full episode on YouTube. I did watch that full episode of the
The
dating
dating
game.
it, yeah. And he seems like a cool guy,
Which I mean, props to that
which
woman.
is what scares people
Prop,
the most.
props to that woman for like having like kind of a weird feeling about him. And,
That's
was
wild. That's like
trusting your gut feeling.
yeah. Because I mean the guy just seemed like a
there was a woman
a
too.
groovy dude.
There was a woman too who wasn't it like she escaped Bundy that he was trying to like lure her, and she kind of had a weird feeling about him. And
Yeah, she
I
like
saw an interview with her
fought
or
back
something.
or something. Yeah,
Something,
it was,
yeah, but
she escaped.
it's insane. I thought you were gonna say the toolbox murderer.
Oh, that something Alan Ray, David Allen Ray.
Just because of how fucked up. I mean, they're all fucked up, but just because of
I'm
how
gazoogling insanely fucking fucked up his shit was.
I mean,
and it was Toy Box Killer, not Toolbox
I
Killer.
was it Toy Box Killer? Okay, it was Toy Box Killer. You're right.
Because that was his toy box.
Yeah, that was insane.
David Parker Ray was
David
his name.
Parker
is that what I said, or was I was close?
David Allen.
Whatever.
Yeah. You were the mark.
Yeah, that. And you know what's fucked up about him though was that his daughter was his accomplice.
I know,
and I'm pretty sure they were, stooping. And I don't know.
So I mean, that's
he was making them bang dogs and shit.
Yeah. I mean,
it's fucked.
That's why I can't. I mean, I don't watch a lot of true crime stuff because I know the world's fucked up and there's a lot of fucked up people in it. That's why I like to stick to the fictional. I mean, which a lot of those fictional things are based off real people, but I like to. I just
literally every movie you've named is based off of
something inspired by something.
Yeah.
It's just
which is terrible.
That stuff is just it blows my mind, man. It blows my fucking mind. But that's yeah, man. I don't watch a lot of true crime. I don't watch a lot of like ID channel when that stuff.
That's all we watch.
That's all we watch. Informative murder porn, as South Park dubbed it.
Oh, I thought you were telling us your favorite genre.
Porn. I'm not getting on that. No, I'm not. Episode 2. I'm on. That'll be like an episode 20, episode 22, maybe. But yeah, not episode 2.
The way I look at it is one day. Let's say we get to the point where we're monetized and we have all.
We might as well get all this stuff out of our system.
They're gonna go back, and it was funny because I was joking about this to everyone last night. I was like, oh, someone's gonna go back and find the one thing I said to get us canceled. And they're like, the one thing?
Yeah.
And I was like, yeah, okay. So pretty much everything I fucking said.
I mean,
but
it's I don't know. That can be a whole episode to talk about our thoughts on that. But I mean, I don't foresee myself ever having anything future worthy of that would be canceled for. But you never know.
I'm just cancel culture.
Yeah, that's what I said. That could be a future discussion right there. But
well, actually, what was funny is we had a discussion last night on cancel culture, and the hilarious thing of it was that all these entitled people that want to be upset about things that are like, well, this is now offensive, and that is now offensive, and this is now offensive, have and follow me on this one, have effectively whitewashed society. Think about it. Aunt Jemima, Uncle Ben, Land O'Lakes Indian lady, whatever else you can think of that was a commercial figure that was a minority, the Chiefs, everything like that. They're like, well, that's offensive to these people. That's offensive to these people. That's offensive to these people. Now there is no people of color in branding. So by canceling all these fictional characters, they've essentially whitewashed the society. I mean, it's hilarious to think about. You know what I mean? Like instead of being like them being celebrated as a person of color or ethnicity or whatever have you, they're gone now. And
yeah, I don't know, man. That kind of stuff's so outside my realm of.
I don't understand many things in this world.
Yeah, I mean,
well, and hilariously enough, what are the only I guess you can say, racial caricatures, cartoons, depictions out there still.
Mm-hmm.
The fucking Lucky Charms leprechaun, the Notre Dame Fighting Irish. Because why? The Irish don't give a fuck. That is why we just go about our day. So yeah, it is. It's kind of funny how people don't see
Stuff.
the big
Yeah.
picture, and it just kind of snowballs and spirals out of control. Even like the one thing I was seeing, um, people want to identify as fucking tree limbs and whatever else they want to identify nowadays. And there's, and again, we don't research anything, but I would have to look more into it to talk about further if we wanted to. But there's a guy, he's a pedophile. Um, and he identifies himself as a small child, dresses like a little girl. Is like I identify as a, we'll say, I don't know what the exact age he said was, but we'll just say a 9-year-old girl. And you know, to be on that side of the fence, you can't say, well, look, this person X should be able to identify as Brandon Fraser's cock ring, and this person should be able to identify as Ryan Reynolds' ball sweat, which that's how I identify as.
We'd all be lucky to be Brendan Fraser's cock ring. Let's be honest.
And to be fair, we would, because he is a treasure,
He is a treasure,
and I'm glad he's making a comeback.
Yes.
But so it's kind of hard to get the same people that say that to say, well, you can't identify as a little girl because you can't.
No,
It's a rabbit hole.
Yeah.
It's a rabbit hole.
That's what I mean. That's not a something that's like a conversation to be
And
had
again,
with people, not within like a 30-minute long podcast or episode.
That's the small
See-
minorities mindset.
Yeah.
I understand. I know. Trust me, that's not lost on me. I
No.
fully understand that. But
I don't really have too many extreme opinions on anything like that. I don't know. That's what I mean. That'd be for like another day, another topic of discussion. But yeah, I mean,
is that what's gonna get us canceled?
I don't know.
Eh.
I don't know. I mean,
you know who wouldn't cancel us?
Hmm.
Yuengling, America's finest and oldest brewery.
We did want to talk. A
Until
little
they
bit
hit us
about...
with a cease and desist.
We'll be fine if we ever show their products on camera ever again. We did want to talk. I know this would be another episode. And we're getting close to. We're actually over the half-hour mark.
Yes.
But we did want to talk a little bit too about anybody who stumbles upon this. If you guys watch this far, you may very well have turned it off by now. I would not blame you one bit.
Oh,
but
guaranteed.
I guarantee it. But Johnny and myself, I got these, using YouTube aliases, but we're both massive comic book fans as well, and we're going to integrate that at some point.
Selective
Comics. But we want to talk very heavily about two comic book companies, Boom Studios and Aftershock Comics. Those are
definitely two of our
favorites.
Independent.
I don't know how you because
they're. I view everything outside of Marvel and DC as independent.
I don't foresee like a big Hollywood company ever funding like a $20 million Maniac movie. You know what I mean?
Well, no, hold on, because who did
Bloodshot?
But
again, that
was Variant. But
Variant.
who? But
Valiant. That
were they their own?
Well, the guy who started Valiant, he's actually I think from Pittsburgh. He was the director, one of the directors at Marvel. Then he went and started Valiant, so he has a history of that. But again, Bloodshot didn't have the budget of like Iron Man.
Also true. I don't think it was a big hit at all.
It wasn't a big hit. It was a
which
bomb,
is a shame because it kind of seemed like it was a good book.
It wasn't bad.
Yeah.
It was an okay cheesy movie.
It was like a cyborgy Punisher kind of bullshit.
But like I'd say I don't know if I'd say I'm not good at judging independent anymore because I think so many things in entertainment culture are from independent studios, whether it's movies, comic books, music, because the platforms people have, you can promote your shit anywhere. You know what I mean? YouTube, Facebook, any social
Yeah.
media. Um, it's not like back in the day when if you were like a musician, you were out trying to give your demo to random people on the street. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Um, but
Now literally everybody's a rap star.
yeah, everybody, yeah. But you're reading Something Is Killing the Children right now.
I'm reading. That's right. That is from Boom. The series is called Something Is Killing the Children. I bought the TPDs. I didn't buy the comics. I got into it late in the game. Um, I'm on book 3 now, and I highly, highly, highly recommend it. It's great. I didn't know that there was a predecessor to it. Well, I did know, but
But you didn't know they were connected.
I did, but I didn't.
Okay.
I didn't know how. So I think Something Is Killing the Children is a 5 TPD, 5 or 6 um, books, and then there's also a thing called The House of Slaughter, which is like a prequel to that, and that's 2. I believe it's 2 TPD that kind of explains the protagonist's life before Something Is Killing Children. Um, I didn't read any of that yet. I figure what I'll do is, since I already got into Something's Killing the Children, I will read through that and then go back and treat it as like a prequel and have an appreciation for it as a prequel instead of reading half of one series and then reading through another series. And so that I think that's but definitely if you're just like a novice comic book fan, you don't have a lot of time to dedicate. You know, I've got a kid, full time job. We're doing this podcast. We do D&D, Magic the Gathering. You know, busy schedule. I don't have a whole lot of time to commit to, um, long series of comics. So Aftershock is perfect for like the novice comic book reader because a lot of their runs are only 5 issues, and if they um, are well received. People enjoy them. They do more than 5. They seem like they always put out a TPD, which is a TPB, trade paperback. Yeah, I think I've been saying TPD anyway. TPB, trade paperback, which is like the novelization of all the comics. Which, if you get one of those, if you have like an evening where you have like a half hour free, you can blast through one of those. So yeah, definitely. I would say right now my favorite story now is through Boom, but I would say the favorite publisher though would be Aftershock because just the number of stuff I've read
Yeah.
is through them
They're
is
both
great.
very consistent publishers. They always crank out. I mean, they get great artists. They get great story, like
Oh,
great
the
writers.
art's great.
Art's
Yeah.
fantastic. The thing, basically, how we always find these different books. If anybody who watches is on the convention circuit, you guys go to Comic Cons. One thing are big proponents of: go to small local Comic
Very
Cons.
small
Go
local
to the
ones.
local Comic Cons. Not, I mean, obviously do it every. I mean, people have great experiences at the big ones, but pretty much there's a local one in Monroeville, which anyone who's watching from knows Steel City Con. A lot of people go, they have a good time, but we both went back in the day when it was to get in. They'd have maybe 4 or 5 weird celebrities there, but it was cool.
What
And
it was the local
yeah,
comic book,
collectible
pop culture,
shops.
collectibles, toys, and everything. These vendors would come in, get a table for cheap, and sell their overflow for cheap because they were just trying to unload. And collectors would come in and be like, "It's a great deal."
Yeah.
And now, I mean, go ahead and continue because
Yeah.
if I take over, I'm gonna get mad.
That's
I'm
a whole
gonna
episode.
rant.
That's a whole episode right there. But yeah, if you're gonna look for local, look for like toy shows, look for local small cons that people put on, because I say small, there's some that are decent size, but they're not compared to like the big ones where you're spending like $40 to get in. It's stuff that's way above market value half the time.
along those lines, actually, I believe, and again, we don't know what the fuck we're doing, but I believe we can go live.
Yeah.
On
Yeah, we can.
yeah. So what we can do is one of our now favorites, which is at the David L. Lawrence Convention Center.
Which I haven't been to since it's been the David L. The
It,
last time I went was when they had it outside at the waterfront.
I mean, it's about the same, but
Yeah.
it's better because it's indoors and whatever.
Yeah.
But
Well, I was gonna say real quick before we cut this off. I was gonna say reason I brought that up is when you go to a Comic Con, because I mean they go to all the shows, but look for independent artists, look for independent writers,
for sure,
stuff that are promoting, because they're gonna
they're a lot more interesting.
I remember when we went to our first one, the gentleman who
Yeah,
did
yeah,
who did the
yeah,
Postal
Postal,
series, which is a
yeah.
great
Yeah.
series. Man, he had other books there. He was just like, "Oh, hey man, take one of these. Take one of these. Yeah, I'll throw one of these in. I'll sign everything for you." They're so
He was
excited.
so excited.
Yeah, they're always so excited to talk to you about their work.
And another thing, like you just mentioned, though,
Yeah.
when you go to these small cons and you meet independent artists and whatnot, get them to sign everything. Number
Yeah.
one, they feel like a fucking rock star. Number two,
Yeah.
they may be the next Stan Lee.
Yeah.
You may have the first fucking issue
Yeah.
of the next Spider-Man.
Yeah,
You know what I
never
mean?
know. And I'm one. I know some people do this. I can't read comics digitally.
No,
I can't read
that's
them
my
on like
brother
apps
does.
and
I
stuff.
can't. I can't.
I have to have an actual book. But yeah, I mean, always support your independent artists, support your independent writers, because it's not easy to come up with original stuff nowadays. And you find some people at these shows that have incredible ideas. And I found some great books through. Actually, there was this wasn't a comic book. This one guy I met at that Sci-Fi Valley Con in Altoona. The one book I got off him, it was like 30 or 40 authors. It was an actual book, but it was like 30 or 40 authors, and each chapter it was written during lockdown, and it was all their predictions of what world would be like post COVID.
No.
It was kind of a cool idea.
Yeah.
And yeah, man, I mean, that's plus you're gonna meet cooler people. That's not gonna be as much of a clusterfuck. You're not gonna be shoulder to shoulder.
Yeah,
Like,
that's what's bad about the nuts to the butt situation that you run into with
Yeah.
these big cons now.
I can't even bring it to myself to even walk to the celebrity area in Steel City Con anymore.
No.
It's too many people. It's shoulder to shoulder. I can't do it anymore.
And I've got beef with too many celebrities, so I just
I just can't do it anymore, man. Like that's why that's why I love just the days of when that shit was way smaller, and it was about the
well, you know what the
people-
issue is that now that nerd culture is like
mainstream.
the cool thing to
Yeah.
do. D&D.
Yeah.
Stranger Things. Now it's fucking cool. And I
Yeah.
feel like an asshole because that's when I got into it.
Yeah.
And it had nothing to do with Stranger Things. Nothing to do with them. But it just happened to be the timing, and I would just feel like an asshole. Same thing with hockey. I never enjoyed sports growing up. That was never my thing. I love skating. I was always a skater. Rollerblading, ice skating, anytime you can get me on something I could hurt myself with, I was a big fan of it.
Did you skateboard?
Oh yeah,
Is it okay?
yeah, big time.
Never actually seen you skateboard. I know you did rollerblading and
I
skating,
have
ice
skateboards
skating.
out my garage. We'll go to the fucking skate park right after
I
this.
don't know how to skateboard.
I'm just telling you, I'll drop in on a fucking quarter pipe right now,
I
and
believe
I'll
you.
break my hip. But
Where's your skate park?
the municipal.
Oh, municipal. That's
Yep.
right. Okay.
But anyway, I feel like an asshole because of that too. Because right as I got into hockey, which came to be after I graduated high school, my buddy Big Mike, Dr. Movie, has a channel on YouTube.
Dr. Movie 91. Check it
I
out.
will pin his
Yep.
shit in the comments. Big hockey fan, grew up playing hockey and everything. He was like, look, he's like, you can skate backwards. He's like, you're already better than half the people on the team. He's like, come play hockey. And I'm like, I was like, I don't know. I was like, I just don't think that's the sport for me because I don't like sports.
Mm-hmm.
And he was like, well, come to this Penguin Student Rush. You know, I think it was $20 back in the day. You'd wait in line outside of the old Mellon Arena, and the Penguins, you know, some of the second, third line guys,
Second tier,
yeah, they would bring you out pizza, and you'd be like, yeah, that's cool. But anyway, so
there is a video somewhere on YouTube of Josh meeting Max Talbot.
yeah, Max Talbot. He's the fucking man.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure he has a restraining order against me.
But
but anyway, so we go to this hockey game, and I don't know what the fuck's going on. I don't know sports or anything.
Yeah.
But people are just screaming, "Oh, fuck you, ref! You fucking blind fuck!" And like I'm like, what? I was like, this is great.
Well, you said the moment for you. I'm sure you can tell the moment where you called somebody out and they like.
It was the Penguins played the New York Islanders. It was my first game, and Rick DiPietro was the goaltender, and I was just laying the fuck into him, just everything I could say, and he got so fucking mad at me, and it was hilarious because I didn't even know what I was talking about. I didn't know anything about hockey. He turns around and he gives me the finger, but he was wearing his blocker, so he was like, ugh, and he realized I couldn't see, and he turned it around, and I was like, that guy just fucking flipped me off. Like, it was great. It was the best thing ever. Rick DiPietro, fuck you back. But yeah, it was great. So then I was like, yeah, dude. I was like, I would like to play this.
Like you were saying, I mean, everything's so mainstream now. I know we're going for like 45 minutes, but like it's cool because
people taper off by now anyway. So
yeah, that's true.
we can just keep going.
What's cool is people that I didn't expect to be, and a lot of it's that this is going to sound like a weird comparison, but there's people that I went to school with that I never would have pegged as like Star Wars fans, comic book fans in a million years. And nowadays, thanks to like social media, like I'll see them sharing Star Wars stuff. Like, oh shit, I never realized you like Star Wars and whatnot.
I feel like they weren't all about it back then, though.
A couple of them I talked to, yeah, they were. You could tell they were.
Right.
You could tell they were. But it's cool to have like, oh, it's more people I can talk to about this now. It's cool. But like everything else, you have a small crowd that has to completely ruin it. And well, not ruin it because it's there, it's not gonna be ruined, but
you're talking about the snobbery?
The snobbery, yeah.
Yeah.
The snobbery and like it's
the Last Jedi all over again. God damn it.
Yeah. It's I don't know, man. It's cool, but it's good. It's a good thing and a bad thing in a lot of ways. Because it's the same thing with like band shirts, heavy metal shirts. It's style. It's fashion now. It's a fashion thing now, which I get. It's like how can you be mad about someone promoting a band you like? But it's the fact that you got these people that they would have made fun of the kids wearing band shirts in school.
Yeah, but they and then you also have the people that go up with the their phones and whatnot. They like they see like a girl wearing like an AC/DC shirt. Like, name me 3 AC/DC songs, and I'd be like,
that would be me.
I know that would be you.
That'd be me.
But I mean, so
it's a good thing and a bad thing. But the thing is, like, if you're a true fan of something, you're not going to let that ruin it for you. You know what I mean? Because like the people that don't, I'm just saying the people that if you don't like the new Star Wars stuff, you always have the old movies to go back to. You know what I mean?
True.
You always have the old movies to go back.
But you can be also grateful that you can kind of pick and choose though, because let's say like all right, I hate the new trilogy, the sequel trilogy, but because of the hype, you have the Mandalorian.
Well, that's like
you have Obi-Wan.
Well, my sister, CJ, my sister's boyfriend.
Did you tell your sister we have a podcast?
I did not.
I didn't bring it up to her.
I figured you would have whenever.
I didn't. I was too busy ranting about how much I hate your ex.
Well, that's out there now.
She lives in Ohio. You know you are. Fuck you.
Anyway, that's all. I didn't bring it up. He did.
I did.
But
I will always bring it up.
We were talking about Star Wars, and he hates the new movies. He's like written Star Wars.
He actually hates them.
Oh, hates them.
Not even any redeeming quality about them.
Hates them.
Wow.
He won't watch anything new Star Wars.
Really? Whoa. Series or anything?
Oh, he won't. Yeah.
No Kenobi.
Oh, he refused to watch it.
What about coming up?
He likes
Rogue One.
He likes Rogue One. I don't know if he actually saw Rogue One or not.
I
have to ask him.
Rogue Squadron coming out too.
There is that. Thing is, he's old school. He grew up with the original movies.
Understandable, but still.
I'm saying, but the point I'm going to make is, you said about like the hype and pick and choose and whatnot. Like he hated prequels, hated Phantom Menace. He saw a lot of people. He saw Phantom Menace opening night with some friends, but he said, despite how bad the movie was, the hype leading up to it was the greatest thing. Yeah.
Well, yeah, because it was what, a 20-year gap.
Yeah. He said like opening night, the hype leading up to it, he's like, that was the coolest thing. That was better than the movie itself. Just seeing it, hanging out with everybody like talking about,
I feel like,
new Star Wars.
but I feel like that's what ruins a lot of things is the hype.
The hype, but also what I was going to say was it's also a generational thing because like I grew up with the prequels, therefore they hold a special place in my heart.
It's like when
You
you're
know?
it's like when you're a young lad and you get an attraction to women and you lose your virginity and you're like, that was great. And then when you settle down with a woman, you're like, ah,
You know who you
they're
are.
fucking terrible.
Look, that's who commented. You know who you are.
Oh, she's the worst. but no, I mean it's definitely you know,
I'm good.
you know, the hype is definitely one of the things where you want to love something so bad,
Yeah.
but then you have your expectations get built up to a point to where nothing's ever going to live up to your
Yeah,
expectations.
and Mark Hamill made a point of that whenever
He's shit all over Last Jedi.
Well, even Force Awakens.
Mark Hamill,
Okay.
Luke fucking Skywalker
I know.
pulled his pants down and took a fucking grumper all the fuck over Last Jedi. So remember that when you try to defend it.
I don't defend it as much these days. There's points in the movie I will defend that. There's
He
parts
has
that
quoted, "Not my Luke Skywalker."
he did that before the movie came out.
Yeah.
Anyway, no, but during Force Awakens, he even said, at the end of the day, it is just a movie. It's not going to live up to anything you're coming up with in your head as a fan.
Yeah.
And he's right. I mean, you can hype stuff up all day until you're blue in the face. Nothing will ever. I mean, people like there's things you watch like, oh, that exceeded my expectations. But when you have a passionate fan base like Star Wars fans, I mean, you better deliver the greatest fucking thing on earth. Otherwise, it's just not going to be good. I'm just saying, but otherwise, you're going to have these people that are just going to hate it for some reason. Like, I don't know, man. Just
you could literally have went back in time to Carrie Fisher's heyday.
Yeah.
And made a X-rated Star Wars film where Princess Leia in her slave costume is just deep-throating Han Solo to his fucking balls, tonguing away.
These are the only examples he can come up with, by the way.
And people would still just be like, well, she didn't cup the balls. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and I was gonna say it's a lot of it's having social media and the internet as well.
The social media is what's
Can you imagine what
that's what's fucked about
Can you imagine social like Facebook if it existed when Phantom Menace was out? So,
Christ.
Like
that poor fucking kid, Jake Lloyd.
Oh
Jesus
yeah,
Christ.
and he still ended up fucking insane.
Well, that's schizophrenia is not really a thing that is just
I'm saying though, but he
appears out of the blue.
I'm saying he got like
because of bullying. Yeah, he did. He mercilessly got bullied.
And you think like, oh man, I'm in Star Wars, and like turns out you get ridiculed for that when you go back and you're like, oh Jesus, man.
Yeah.
But even like but I was gonna say, like, there's a video on YouTube of, I know this is Star Wars, but people reacting to Michael Keaton being cast as Batman. And even that was like they're interviewing these people in the comic book show. They're like, Mr. Mom is gonna be Batman, and that mentality.
More people are offended about Mr. Mom being Batman than Robert Downey Jr. in blackface, which I find hilarious.
Well, the thing I will say with that though is
that Robert Downey Jr. can do no wrong.
Well, it's not.
And it was satire.
Well, that's satire. He was playing a character who was so dedicated to his craft that he literally died. He literally
wasn't even that he was that naive.
Yeah.
He was naive.
Yeah. And like he went that far. That's what was so funny about just how insane it was.
Yeah.
So that's why I don't think. I mean, hell, he was up for an Oscar for that.
Yeah.
He was up for and Cuba Gooding Jr. introduced him. And I think he said some along the lines of
I think Cuba learned his lesson too because he went full tard in fucking radio. And that wasn't well received. Because he went full tard.
I think, I mean, that was I don't know.
And in Tropic Thunder,
Simple Jack,
Robert Downey Jr. called out Ben Stiller's character for going full fucking tard. So yeah,
Yeah, I
full
mean,
circle.
yeah, I mean, the movie was satire. That's why I don't think anyone had a real problem with it. But I'm sure nowadays, someone could find they will try to find some problem with it. But that's one of those things.
That's another thing that makes me laugh right now.
What's that?
Star Wars and blackface and everything. when Mac and Dennis and It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia.
Oh, Lethal Weapon.
Yeah.
Oh,
And they're doing
did
like
they switch like?
they did they
Yeah,
ended
they
up switching.
switched.
They said something about well, James Earl Jones did blackface for Darth Vader. Like James Earl Jones does have blackface. it was so fucking stupid. It was funny as fuck.
Yeah, there's always going to be a small section of the internet that's ready to rip anything apart, but I like to think that the majority of people just kind of tune that out. I mean,
Yeah,
that's
it's always the smallest minority that has
yeah.
the biggest voice.
That's why I really don't get too bummed out about when people like get an uproar, a section of people get an uproar of things because most people don't care. I
No.
don't think most people really
Nobody
care.
gives a fuck.
So, yeah, I mean, we're about at an hour. I mean, you want to sign off on here
That's
soon?
pretty much it.
Okay, that's all we got to say. We've already pissed off more people this week, so we'll continue to do that on a weekly basis.
So what we can do is anyone who's made it this far at least, comment what you would like us to discuss. Again, big comic book
And we will
fans.
continue to do no research on anything
Also
and
true.
just fire from the hip.
D&D, Magic the Gathering.
We should get Rob on here to rant about D&D.
No.
No?
You think 1 hour's long now? We get Rob ranting. I don't have enough. YouTube doesn't have enough cloud to encounter all that.
That'd be great.
We could actually maybe we can fiddle with how to do things here. Maybe go live on the phone. Take a tour of the basement with the Star Wars collection. I'm a lot. But anyway, if there's anything you would like us to discuss, shamelessly, we'll talk about whatever.
I got nothing. That's all. Yeah. I got nothing to add. I mean,
yeah. If there's anything that you like our opinion on, or want to hear more of, or you think would be funny that we would discuss, religion,
no,
anything,
I'm not gonna. I'm gonna try to avert getting too into deep topics on here. I like talking about the horror movies and Star Wars.
Oh, the lighthearted stuff is fun.
I talk way too much out of my ass when it comes to stuff I don't understand. So I'm not gonna.
What we're saying is we need your help to figure it all out. But we'll figure it all out.
Keith, if you're listening, I know you tuned in.
He's already tuned out.
He might have already tuned out. We got somebody.
Is that what that one means?
One viewer.
We have one viewer. Is it Keith? Keith, comment if you are viewing right now.
Katie.
Oh, yeah, it might be Katie.
Yeah, but she stopped watching. She stopped watching a movie in the opening credits.
I mean, to be fair, she could just hear from upstairs.
That's also true.
But
so yeah, we'll keep tinkering. We'll keep tinkering with shit and figure it out. Let's get outro music too.
Oh, what we do again? That was short.
Okay.
Bye.
You ready? Sign off. Yep. We're out
ready
here.
To end it?
See everybody. This thing where we're